Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So we'll talk about Samuelson trade theory today. If you have any question from the previous class, tell me.
Ma'am, please explain the Hayek's theory again.
Okay, so let us revise both the theories instead of only talking about Hayek. So we will be talking about, today we will be talking about innovation theory of business cycle. It is, these two words are synonyms, business cycle or trade cycle. So before that, we have understood the phases of business cycle. There are 4 phases of business cycle. Then why business cycle arises, the reason behind business cycle or the causes of business cycle, causes of business cycle. Are explained by theories. So as you have seen, we have discussed, there can be psychological theory, there can be a sunspot theory, there can be weather-based theory, there can be different theories, but we are talking about expectation-based theory. But we are talking about economic theories which explains the generation of business cycle or why fluctuations in economic activity takes place. So the first reason or the first cause or the first explanation behind business cycle was R.G. Hartree's monetary theory of business cycle. Okay. So this theory says that business cycles or trade cycles are purely monetary phenomena. And this statement is very famous, right? You will find it everywhere. So every economic activity fluctuation is due to the change in money supply. So as the money supply expands, there is expansion in the business cycle, or the business cycle enters into expansion, prosperity, and boom phase. As the money supply contracts, there is a contraction in business cycle, there is a contraction in economic activities. Then if the contraction continues, it goes to recession. Or if it further continues, it results in depression. So expansion and contraction in money supply and contraction in the money supply creates fluctuations in economic activities. And in this case, the channel will be very simple. Like say money supply increases. Try to pay attention to this. Money supply increases, interest rate comes down, investment goes up, so output goes up, employment goes up, wages increases. This lead to increase in aggregate demand. Increase in aggregate demand leads to profit increase for the firms. When the profit increases, investment again increases. Credit money also expands. So in this, now as the credit money is expanding, money supply is actually again increasing. So this becomes a continuous cycle where once money supply starts increasing, with the reduction in interest rate, investment and all other activities goes up. Okay, so when investment goes up, initially the investment goes up in the consumption goods sector, then later it is followed by the capital goods sector, investment sector. So gradually across the economy, across the economic activities, there is expansion. Okay, demand is rising, wages are rising, profits are rising, prices are rising, and this is all due to money supply. And the reverse will take place, that why money supply will reduce. If increasing the money supply leads to higher economic activity in the economy, why money supply will contract? So the question is why money supply contracts or reduces. So the answer which Hartree is providing us, he's saying that as the credit money is created more and more, as the credit creation increases in the economy, now the borrowings or the loan in the economy increases to a very high level. And after a certain point, banks are asking their money back because they need money to lend further. So once the banks start taking back their loan, then the economic activity will start contracting, because in order to pay the loan, people who have borrowed, they have to sell their assets or sell their goods. Now, when the selling will take place, in order to return the loan, in order to pay back the loans, then the contraction will set in. I hope you are all able to understand this, the reason or the idea.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
The bank will left with low reserves, so they will now to manage their reserve. Abhishek, just put your video off. Their reserve, they will try to get back their loan. Yes, Aman, right, very right. So because now they need money, or they think that they have lent too much, So that will create, that can create too much of borrowing can always be a trouble in the economy, because too much borrowing creates a probability of loan default. As the borrowings increases, the possibility of loan default also increases. With the increase in borrowing, if there is excessive borrowing in the economy, this will lead to loan default. So this probability of loan default will affect the banks, will affect their profitability or affect their business. So instead of getting into loan default situation, or to avoid the loan default situation, whenever there is too much of borrowing in the economy, too much of credit money floats into the economy, they start asking their borrowing back, or they start asking their loans back. So they want people to repay the loan. Now, when repayment is done, the rest of the economic activities contracts. So this continues as the loan is being paid back. So there is very less amount of loan or credit creation left with the banks. In order to run their business, credit create, not do business. Banks' basic business is creating credit. So once they will again start creating credit, again the money supply will start increasing again. So there is no cannot allow the money supply to increase like this. Money supply not only be the reason. Or every time when money supply goes up, maybe people don't borrow, or maybe people don't invest by with the increase in money supply. So there are certain advantages, certain disadvantages of this model. There are some supporters, there are some critics of this model. So Hayek is one of them. Hayek is saying, now von Hayek, what he's saying? He's saying that with every increase in bank loans, if investment expenditure is rising faster than consumer expenditure, then business cycles occur. So according to von Hayek, it is not the increase in money supply per se, but if the increase in money supply results in higher investment expenditure in the economy and more than the consumer expenditure, it is not only the money which is invested to produce consumer goods, more textiles, more electronics, more furniture, higher level of food products, not only this type of investment, but when capital goods production is rising. capital goods industries expand faster than consumer goods industry, then there is a disequilibrium between the two sectors and the result is fluctuations. So it is not only the expenditure which Hayek is emphasizing on. Hayek is saying that if the investment is rising faster in the capital goods industry, this will create an expansion for the economy. Because capital goods industry will lead to more production of not only consumer goods but different types of capital goods, and this will create higher production capacity in the economy. Higher production capacity will lead to more economic activities, now more employment, more opportunities, more profit, right? So in that way, von Hayek is talking about overinvestment. Overinvestment or underinvestment is the cause behind business cycle, is the cause of business cycle. Is it okay now?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, remember one thing. You should understand that the difference between Hayek and Hartree lies between the fact that the primary reason in both the theories are different. Rest of the things remains the same. In the case of Hayek's theory, primary reason is investment. Now, this investment will lead to increase in money supply gradually. But in Hartree, first the money supply goes up and then the rest of the things follow. In Hartree's theory, also with the increase in money supply, investment goes up. But that is not the major cause. But Hayek says that the business cycle starts with investment, not the money supply, but it is the investment. Now, with the investment in capital goods, gradually there will be more credit creation in the economy. Money supply will expand. So, in case of Hayek's theory, money supply follows investment. In Hartree's theory, investment follows money supply. That's how you should understand the channel. But the major point is that in both these theories, they have put excessive in both the cases, they are putting larger focus on interest rate, right? They are every time saying that if investment increases, gradually the interest rate will come down due to increase in money supply. Or initially, when money supply goes up, the interest rate will come down and then investment and other things will follow. So there is too much of emphasis on the interest rate, as if that expenditure always depends on the level of interest rate. There are theories which have emphasized that investment is interest inelastic. Investment or expenditure is not always interest or money supply elastic. Sometimes they are not affected by the interest rate or the money supply movement. Even if the money supply goes up, maybe the expenditure is not increasing because there is no demand in the economy. Maybe there is no expectation in the economy, because positive expectation leads to higher investment. So it is not only that investment increase will lead to expansion in business cycle, but there are certain other factors also. Similarly, there can be a criticism that these theories do not provide complete explanation for upturns and downturns in the business cycles. Upturns and downturns, why? What will be the level when peak will arise, and what will be the level when trough will arise? This is not explained by this theory. Okay, this says that money supply increases, business cycle expands. But how this peak will reach, this is remain unanswered. Or why this trough will arise, this is again unanswered. Okay, this is the trough, the lowest point, and this is the peak. So later on, economists like Samuelson and Hicks, they provided the answer. They said that it is due to the multiplier and the accelerator that business cycles are created. And because of the multiplier and accelerator, there is a peak. Because of the multiplier accelerator, there is a trough. So this theory explains some of the reasons, but these theories does not explain the technicalities of the business cycle. Similarly, it assumes, now in both the theories, you must be observing that they are thinking that every time investment increases or money supply increases, immediately economic activities will expand. Now, who is going to expand the economic activities? So therefore, one of the major shortcoming in both these theories is they ignore the role of entrepreneurs. Or businessmen or innovators. So this is one of the shortcoming of this theory according to Schumpeter, because they do not explain the role played by the entrepreneurs or the innovators. So now this is the Joseph Schumpeter's theory. So according to Joseph Schumpeter, business cycles are only created due to innovations. Every time innovations rises, the business cycle expands. Every time there is a reduction in innovation or there is a contraction in innovation, it will create contraction in the economic activity. So with the increase in innovation activities, innovation will create new products will create new demand, and this new demand will lead to more economic activities. Okay, now only entrepreneurs do innovation. According to Schumpeter, it is only entrepreneur who does innovation. So entrepreneur, in order to do the innovation, needs investment, needs money, and that will be provided by the bank. But it is only the entrepreneur who can do innovation and who can create business cycles. So the major reason behind business cycle is the entrepreneurial activity or innovation activities in the economy, right? So with innovation, technology changes and then business cycles are created. Now the point is that what is innovation? It is not very difficult to understand what is innovation, but let us see few things that how innovation is explained. So innovation can be new method of production, or it can be new technology, it can be new ways of marketing or selling the product. It can be a new product. Or it can be related to new or innovative method of organization. Right? So that's how you define innovation, or that's how Schumpeter is defining innovation. So any of these things take place in the economy, this creates business cycles in the economy, or this creates a boom and burst in the economy. Are you all in the class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is important for us to emphasize on. Boom and burst in economic activities are created with innovation. So as the innovations takes place, economic activities takes place. So you can always talk about that when we are using the term innovation, there is another term which is invention. So innovation and invention, these are the two different terms, right? Invention is different from innovation. So Schumpeter is talking about innovation, not invention. So inventions do not create business cycle, but innovations do create business cycle. Because innovation also has a cycle. There is a cycle of innovation which Schumpeter has explained. So with new product or new technology, new demand is created. Okay. So initially, new product, new technology, so production rises. In the home country, wherever the innovation is taking place, initially with this new product, new technology, production and demand will rise only in the home country. But gradually, what happens that surplus of this new production will lead to export. Now, because of this exports, there will be more earnings for this innovator or the entrepreneur. Now, with export, what happens that foreign consumption of this new product or new technology or new way of organization also increases. So then, imitation will start. So as the new product is imitated by other producers, so production will rise. So for every businessman, now the profit will start decreasing. As the profits start decreasing, innovator has less incentive to do the same activity. He will again try to do some new innovation. Okay, so there is a life of innovation. Initially, it results in higher demand and higher profit, higher prices. But after some time, when the copying of that technology or product or method will take place in the economy by the other producers, by the other businessmen, then the profit will start declining. So then the economic cycle will observe a contraction. So now this cycle keeps on taking place in the economy. So sometimes when a new technology comes in the market, it immediately creates a spurt in the demand. Initially, the demand rises, but then gradually the technology becomes common for everyone. So then there is no new demand or extra demand for some one person. It becomes common for everyone. Replaced by new technology. Old innovation has to be replaced with new innovation. So who will do this every time? Again, entrepreneur. So according to Schumpeter, entrepreneur plays the most important role in creating business cycles. It is not the banks, it is not the investors, but it is the innovator who is the key behind business cycle. Now tell me if you want to understand anything. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So maybe if you do not have any question, we will not start inflation today, but we'll start the inflation tomorrow only. Okay. So please go through the reading. Read something about Schumpeter's theory so that you understand. And if there is any doubt or anything which is not clear, maybe we will discuss it tomorrow. And then tomorrow we'll talk about inflation. Rahul, there are several theories, right? As you will move to BA3 and as you will come to masters, that is post-graduation, you will see that there are still theories left. There are n number of theories in business cycle, and every theory will give you a new insight or new reason behind business cycle. There are lot many theories, okay? The theory which we are not talking right now is the savings investment theory. Which is given by Calder. Then you have multiplier accelerator. This is given by Hicks and Samuelson. Then you have real business cycle theories, RBCs. We call it, they are famous as RBCs. Now, this is a complete new school of thought for macroeconomics, real business cycle school, right? So the business cycles are created due to technological shocks. Okay, then there are financial theories also, financial market theories. So actually now the modern economist or the modern business emphasizes that it is not the core economic activities which create business cycles, but it is the financial market which creates business cycle. So it is basically the currencies, it is basically the instruments traded in the financial market. They create business cycles because they create sharp upturns and downturns in the market. So you will find that there are several theories, and as the economic activities expands, as the economies grow, you will find new and new factors affecting the business cycle. But every theory has its own significance because every theory explains something unique, right? There are some reasons which are very fundamental, like money supply or investment. And there are certain theories which explain you in a different way. There are demand side theories, there are supply side theories. Sometimes some economists have believed that it is the labor market which creates business cycle. It is not the goods market or the capital market which creates business cycle. So likewise, the development is still going on. How do you draw the trend line? By using the moving average method, you can do it, or by just taking the simple averages for a definite set of years, you can do that. Like suppose you have time from 1950-51 to 2021. So you divide these years into 5 years or group these years into 10 years or 5 years, then take the average, and those values will give you the trend line. Okay, so can we finish the class now?
Ma'am, what is the criticism of innovation theory?
You tell me tomorrow, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
You come up with the criticism. You should be able to identify the critical points in the theory. What is missing in the theory according to you? I've told you so many things, but now try to identify on your own that what is still left. Okay, so we'll meet tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.